and welcome back to Always Off Brand, where we take e-commerce and we simplify it for you. I'm your co-host, Summer Jubileer, along with Scott Oshman.
Hi there, Summer. What's going on? Happy Friday.
Yes, Friday before the holidays. Like, I'm stoked. I am off for like the next 5 days. I mean, I'm going to be busier than ever, but I'm off.
Me too. This is the last day here. We are kind of I am stumbling to the finish line. I'm not going to lie right here. I am crawling to the finish line. I feel burnt out, as crispy fried as it's been a phenomenal year, but I am just burnt. I'm burnt toast right now.
So I'm wondering, are you going to put your holiday song in this pod?
Oh, I don't know. My Hello Venda, Hello Sella.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris Perry, who we had on. He has a spectacular rendition of a Christmas e-com song.
He is good. He is good. You know what's been my best friend this week?
Who?
Copilot. Have you been using Copilot?
No, I don't use. You know what?
My God.
I was climbing out of the AI trough of delusion or delulu is like I say. I can't say that word.
Yeah.
And so I was crawling out, and then we have these freaking note taker bullshit. Got like 17 note takers on these damn calls, and then this one basically note taked and did this stuff, said all this stuff that wasn't even said.
Maybe it's things that should have been said. Maybe they're getting real smart.
No, believe me, it should not have been said, and it was documented, and it was not good.
So Copilot,
I'm back down on the trough, Summer.
So Copilot's been my best friend, mainly because it's annual review season, so that's exhausting. And
what is it, Copilot? Isn't that just like chat? Isn't it like
it's super conversational? And they Copilot gets to know the user, and so like the history of things that you've asked, and you can teach Copilot so it gets better at answering for you. So that's really interesting. The other thing that's been my best friend this week is the guest bedroom. And let me tell you.
Because you've had guests?
No, I've been using it. I've been a guest in my own house. I was last night before going to bed, I was like, we didn't used to, as married couples, share a bed together. I'm like, when did this start?
Yeah, that's the Dick.
And you know what? I was like, you know what? I bet it started when divorce rates started going up. And it sure did. It sure did. So I Googled it, and it was like,
are you serious right now?
Divorce rates started going up in the 1950s. It didn't skyrocket, right? It didn't skyrocket yet. That was in the 60s and 70s. But in the 50s, it did. And you know what else happened in the 50s? People started sharing a bed with their partner. And you know what? No one likes their partner when they haven't had good sleep. And I got to tell you, as I get older, Matt makes all sorts of like annoying, like if I move, he jumps like I am an intruder in my own house, and it like wakes me up. He kicks me. I get kicked. He sleeps with 4 pillows. He's got one in between his legs, hugs one, then has like 2, right? So he sleeps like this. And then you know what he does after he's fallen asleep? Shoves them all onto me. So I wake up with the form of a human body pillow next to me.
So what's your pillow game?
I mean, I sleep with like 6 or 7, but
okay.
But I don't shove them on people. I use them at all times.
Okay. Can you Google this? When did we start needing 17 pillows to sleep?
Okay. Well,
ask me how many pillows I have.
Well, Scott, you also don't use AI, so like you're not someone I think we should take advice from.
I have one pillow. My wife, like you and like Matt, has. I don't even know how the bed must be bigger than a king to fit all those pillows. Number one. Number 2, she has the same setup, like 47 pillows. It's just all over. And I sleep. I don't really, but I got like one butt crack halfway off the edge because I don't move when I sleep. I literally I don't really move.
Mm-hmm.
I go on the side and then I go on the other side. Anyway. But yes, 31 years.
My point is, I think we should be bringing back separate beds again. I think that should become a thing.
I agree. It's like, why not? Sleep is imperative. It is
so lovely. And I like him more when I sleep. And it's kind of fun to miss him. Like, I didn't see you last night. How you doing this morning? We had things to talk about.
Okay, well, this is a whole new thing. I don't disagree at all. Now that the kids are gone, I could go downstairs. She can have the upstairs. She wants like her own little Aaron wing. If
I was Aaron, I would want that too.
Yeah, I don't blame her. I really don't. I don't know. I was thinking of a professional transition to our guest, but I don't.
Speaking of getting into bed with, I think that could be a good transition.
That is a good transition. Let's start the music, and I'll try it again. We're not good on titles here, but let me for the YouTube. We're on the YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out at Always Off Brand. Coming onto the program, one is a returning superstar. The other one is new to the program from one of our favorite conferences in the land. The people that run it. Lena Moriarty, Steven Peters. I'm sure they got fancy titles. They're chairmans, they're vice presidents, they're hoity-toities. They run it, they do it, they are eTail. Welcome to the program.
Woo! Thank you so much for having us. As you can see, it's a holiday season, so I'm live from my childhood bedroom. What's up, everyone?
Are you really? Where's the childhood bedroom?
What we got going on. I'm in Long Island, baby.
Oh my God.
For the holidays. You gotta love it. It's always a good time being home, getting to see a lot of fun stuff happening in New York. So that's where I'm tuning in from. And like I said, we have lots of fancy titles, but just eTail Lena is what we're going with today.
Yes.
So glad to be back, Scott.
Lena, why don't you introduce Steven? Because again, do you have a big intro for Steven Peters?
Well, we'll have like a little drum roll, please.
Yeah, I can start the music again if you want.
No, of course. We have the one, the only Steven Peters. As you know, you've definitely seen him in your inbox once or twice. That's us. He is the head of eTail registrations, the head of basically all of the retailers that come, and I will let you introduce yourself with all of the good.
I mean, again, we don't. We tell our audience to just Google you or look you up on LinkedIn, which I put the link in because we don't want to spend 20 minutes on it. Steven, you've been there 20 years. You said everybody I meet from eTail. I can't emphasize this enough. By the way, I'm wearing both my badges. If you're watching on the YouTube, I'm ready to go.
I know. I brought mine out.
eTail badges on, listener, and I am ready to go. Like tomorrow, I would go tomorrow to Palm Springs. But Steven, you've been there 20 years. Every time I talk to anybody at eTail, they've been there 15, 20 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing team. It's an amazing event. It's been a hell of a ride. It's I've seen everything from the first iPhone getting into the world to now AI being everything. So yeah, I've seen a lot. Mobile shopping.
Steven, so what I'm gonna need at the end of this pod, if we've got time, I'm gonna need like the bloopers of like the shit that's gone bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to hear about. I want to hear like about the worst speaker. I want to hear about all the issues that have been, the dude that got drunk that went streaking. Sorry, Scott, I don't mean to bring up a bad memory.
Yeah, I got a couple for you.
I love it. So when you get into e-commerce, there's so much to learn, and you are bombarded with different events and why you should go. And I find it super hard to be like, if you could go to one show, what should it be? And Scott has always gone on and on about eTail. I've always heard good things. So let's hear, like, what are some of the things that we're doing differently and that we're going to see this year?
Yeah. Steven, I'll
let
you.
Yeah,
okay,
you start.
No, and he could piggyback off me. We have so much going on this year. So just to honestly start, we're on track to have our biggest and best year ever, which is really exciting, which is crazy because you guys know if you came last year, which it was all the rage, that was our best year ever. So it's amazing to just keep kind of one-upping yourself, which is just so great to do. No, but yeah, right. For the first time ever, we're doing the one-to-one meetings, which has been a really big hot topic for a lot of retailers and technology providers. And they're wanting a more intimate environment to have conversation in. And that's what we kind of say that we're all about is we're not your typical trade show. It's not going to be nuts, noise. It's going to be nuts, but the fun kind of nuts, not like the go back to your hotel room and cry kind of nuts. No, but it's really just kind of breaking things down. And that's why we also have launched our eTail first timers. So anyone who comes for the first time, Summer, I hope that, have you been?
I've never been.
We are planning Summer's debut.
Okay, so
In
we'll have
Palm
to have you
Springs,
on for
February.
the first timers for sure, because we're having basically a cohort of everyone coming to explore the event the first time. You know, we know that not
I love
everyone
that.
gets to come as lucky with a buddy. Like you got Scotty O, the man, the myth,
Yeah.
the legend, but not everyone always gets that. So having a first timers really just breaks things down a level and allows you to get a buddy and to
Yeah.
explore the event with someone. So those are two items that I'm really excited about for 2025.
Yeah, and
So
a
I
lot
feel
of
like
people.
Scott
a
needs
lot-
to be part of that. Like Scott, going to a show with Scott is insane. Like I've done tons of different trade shows. I've gone to so many conferences. Going with Scott is a whole experience.
He knows people, you know?
He knows everyone.
But I went the first time last year at Palm Springs. Carrie Masters, shout out to her. She was my guide. She was my buddy. She was like, okay, here's this, here's that. There's where the things are. This is what you want to do. Oh, do you want to meet she was my guide
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. She told me where the good parties were. She took me, they're all good actually. They're all just different settings, different stuff. But anyway, yeah, Steven, what else is hip hop happening?
I mean, AI being the focus. Obviously, Summer, you're big into AI. We actually have for the first time we're having an AI summit. So an entire day, retailer only, focusing on AI, which is going to be huge. A lot of, like Lena said, like the first timers is a lot of people attend by themselves. They don't attend with a large group from a company. And it's a great way to swap numbers and things like that, to say, hey, what are you doing for lunch? Like, let's meet up. Let's tell me what you learned, tell me what I learned. And eTail is much different than any trade show. It's really not even a trade show from my standpoint. It is a conference. It is networking. It is, it's people meeting people. It's people getting out of their basements. It's people getting out of their offices and basically saying, hey, like, I'm back in the conference circuit. And it's great because we are one of the only e-commerce shows that run a 50-50 ratio. And I know that sounds 50-50. Like, so for every one retailer you see.
Is that a raffle ticket
That's
program?
what I'm like. What do I win? What do I win?
I wish. You win eTail. You win JW Marriott.
You win education. No one can take that from you.
The content.
For one retailer, there's one vendor. You go to other shows in the market, you're one retailer to 5, 6 vendors.
100%. That is a great point. That is a great point. You're absolutely right. And as I said last time, I don't know if it's because it's warm in February and people, when I walk through, usually you walk through the exhibitors, right? You walk through the vendors and suppliers, and there's just various moods. There's a vibe in there that the trade shows over the years, right? Yep. Some are happy, some aren't, whatever. I'm telling you, you go in there and everybody is just popping, whether they got anybody at their booth or not. It's just, I was blown away by the vibe in that room. I got to tell you.
We're the vibe curators, and we really do. It brings the fun.
It's the food, beverage. It's everything. Like, we make sure that we only run eTail at hotels. We don't do trade shows or convention centers, because then you're getting convention center food. You're getting the cold pot of coffee, like everything that, like, I look at eTail as kind of the luxury show, because it's at a great location. JW Marriott. I mean, February. The
you
food,
haven't
the beverage.
said where. You haven't said the city it's in.
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. It's eTail Palm Springs.
Everybody knows eTail Palm Springs.
Not everybody knows. So we have to make sure everyone knows now, because that's when Scott's talking about the vibe. Like, it's just, I mean, that is a perfect setting. Listen, we should get into what we think is going to be talked about this year at eTail. And I think one of the things we wanted to chat about is this article that came out from eTail about the 10 industry experts share e-commerce trends to look for in 2025. One of the reasons I personally love this is, again, I mentioned earlier, I am in an annual review season. So I'm planning for 2025 and, like, what are my goals, writing OKRs. And when you read this, you're like, yes, this is exactly what you're
writing. What? At. What?
OKRs. Don't worry about it, Scott. Like, I was thinking about that when I was literally getting ready this morning. I was like, Scott probably has never had to write an OKR, and he probably isn't having to do an annual review. You probably haven't had to do annual reviews ever.
Well, not really. I mean,
like,
back
not in 25 years.
No. When I was at big brands, when I was at North Face, when I was at Columbia, we had to do all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's name dropping now a little, but he had to
Did you know Scott once went to New York, just flew in and flew out in the same day?
No, it wasn't.
I didn't actually hear about that.
It wasn't the same day. You guys are making me blush. Anyway, back to the 10 experts, the industry things. Yes, AI is obviously going to be a big focus. I'm interested to see, Lena, picking up on what you dropped there. And I know Chet, Mr. eTail, who's been on the program. God, just go meet him. If you want a reason to go to Palm Springs, go meet Chet. That's basically it, and everybody. But the one-on-ones, I'm interested to see how you guys do the one-on-ones, because this is a big thing at big trade shows. They set up these one-on-one things, but you hear different stories about goods, bads, whatever. I'm interested to see the flavor that you guys bring to it.
Think white glove treatment. That's
Okay.
basically what eTail is going to bring to it. It's very exclusive. We're not going to be doing it for the entire audience. We're doing 20 VIP sponsors. So we'll have 20 specific sponsors, and we're going to have 60 retailers. And it's going to be based on mutual matches. So we're asking the retailers first, are these companies people you want to be with? We don't want to waste anyone's time.
Yeah.
We do. And that's the biggest thing with a lot of these, that's the miss, is that, it's hard to plan. You've got all these people you have to try to choose, and then you have to do 8 15-minute meetings. And by the time you introduce yourself, the meeting's over, and no one's really gotten too much from it. So ours is 30 minutes. So it's going to be 30-minute sit down. It's going to be one-on-one. It's going to be not in a big ballroom. It's going to be in a smaller ballroom where you have space and you have room. And you're actually going to feel like you're having a conversation with someone that's going to help your business. So that's the difference. And it's structured for companies with 100 million above in online revenues, and they have to be director level or higher. So it's very, very specific. We're talking, the decision makers, the mom and pops of these companies that make decisions. The kids can go in the sessions, they can listen, they can bring their teams, but mom and dad are making decisions. They're shopping.
I love it.
Okay, get back to what you were talking about, Summer. Sorry, I'm here to keep us off track.
No, this is great, and we've heard other shows talk about different conferences, and you just don't get the nitty gritty of like what it looks like. So I love that we're setting the vibe and the tone of what you can expect, because this is coming up in 2 months.
It is.
Yeah, right. And I feel like, honestly, Summer, it's a good transition, because I feel like it really relates to some of those 2025 trends that we were talking about in the latest eTail Spotlight newsletter. Really, there's a shift in typical partnerships, and it's more towards these long-term collaborative endeavors almost.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've been seeing so much of that, where people aren't investing in the typical one-off influencer, $20,000 for a video. You're going and you're developing relationships like we have now, eTail has with Always Off Brand, basically. And we're now collaborating on such a deeper level. And I think that there is a shift in the retail landscape towards these more collaborative environments. And I'm interested to hear, what your thoughts are on that.
If our last pod that just released yesterday, we had Eric on from the Desire Company.
And he's an eTail regular.
This is exactly what he's talking about, which is long collaborations. And that was one of the 10 tips or 10 predictions for 2025. And I love this trend of just going even from the influencer point of view, and not just like throwing your brand into hundreds of different influencers and just seeing what sticks, but actually investing in a relationship. And we are, as consumers, getting savvier about who we're going to be taking advice from and who we trust. Yeah. And it's not something that's easy to find. And you really do have to take the time to get to know these people, and do they connect with your brand? And I love that you're bringing that even into the conference space, where like, who are you partnering with that's going to legitimize and bring actual information that people care about and can trust? Like, do I want to take advice from these people? And are these people that are doing new things in our industry that people need to hear about? I love that.
Exactly. And then that shift, I think, is such a monumental shift, because then you see even the technology providers that are at eTail, like, Scott, you talk about the exhibit hall having a complete vibe. I think it's because of that great ambiance and that great environment. We're not really competing as much as we're looking to learn. And we throw out AI, but who's actually doing it, and what are they doing that is working, and how are we getting beyond that typical, white noise of just people saying AI over and over? And, you see that with, it's like, even of our sponsors going a deeper level, Blue Cord just acquired Albi. And those are two long-term e-tailer sponsors that, you know, they could meet again and again and foster that relationship. And now they're putting Max Bennett probably on the stage at eTail possibly. And he is just like a powerhouse of AI knowledge, funny enough. You know, he has a PhD in this stuff. And it's just interesting to see how these relationships develop and foster over time. And, you know, we've been around for 25 years, the eTail brand. So it's definitely cool to see just such a monumental shift. And I think I'm so excited for the future because of that, you know?
The other thing that just stuck out to me, my first eTail, then even it followed up at Boston. You have the main stage, you have the big keynotes, the big panels, which are terrific. And that's, again, a lot of conferences do that. And you guys do a brilliant job of that. I'm actually hopefully going to be a track. I'm going to do one of the tracks this year. So I'm very excited about that. I'm working on my jokes as we speak. But anyway, the other thing is the breakouts. So you have that, you have the big neat keynotes, a huge, I mean, these are hoity-toities people. These are the big, right? Senior people, brands, you know. And then you have the breakout sessions are so cool. That's what stood out, because the breakout sessions are so less corporate. They're so more informal. You get these, again, senior leaders. These are big brands that, you know, these people have ginormous zeros behind the money that they run, and they're telling you true shit. They're talking to you on a great simplistic level of like, here's what's really going on, and here's how. I love that. There is just a freshness to it that just blew me away.
Yeah, the tracks are great because it's really like people in the trenches. It's the people that are actually doing the job every day. And like even before you get to tracks, the summits have been around since I've been around. And like, look at search and look at email. Like, email is a low cost solution that realistically no one's mastering. Yet every year that room is packed in roundtable discussions with retailers, telling them, you know, this is what we're doing to get people to open to like, it's amazing. And it just keeps going. Every year people are bringing new information to share. And one of the first things I learned, like when I started running eTail, was like, why do they want to share this stuff? Like, you feel like this is like, you don't really want your competitor to know this.
Right. Yeah. Don't give them the secret sauce. Like, I want to be, you know, ahead of the game.
Yeah, why does Best Buy want to tell Target what they're doing? And why does, you know, and at the end of the day, it came down to, if as a industry, you can get people to trust buying online, then we all win. So the better we do. Like when it came down to, I remember listening to a presentation 15, 20 years ago where it was, someone was talking about recommendations. And they used like the store model where someone would go to the checkout and there'd be all this stuff while you're waiting to check out. And I use Marshalls or whatever. I'm in Canada, so we have Marshalls, and I think you guys have Ross and stuff like that. They transitioned that online. So if you bought a pair of brown shoes, it would show up saying, would you like to buy the matching belt? These are certain things that I heard firsthand at eTail, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then now it's basically everywhere. Now it's Amazon. Right. Amazon is there, where you click on something on Amazon, there's everything anyone's ever bought. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But I've seen it from nothing to something. So they want to show and they want to share. And the more the industry can present it to the consumer, the more that industry will grow and the more people will spend online.
That's one of the reasons we created this pod. Was we wanted to give people tips and tricks and ways that they can optimize their business, because rising tides lifts all ships, right? And that has always been the way that we wanted to work. That's why we created the pod, because we wanted to create a space where people can share and give actual tangible advice, where people can go out and do it. And like, yes, not everyone can do like what Best Buy is recommending, but you get the idea where like, can you point your brand, your retail towards that direction and start getting into that space a little bit. So I think that's a great point.
So great comment there. One of the things that I think eTail does extremely well is we also have something that we do. It's like the retailer only networking. We actually put you in silos. So like 0 to 5 million, 5 million to 25 million, 25 million to 100, and all the way up to like 500 million plus. Why? Like, it doesn't make sense for someone that does 20 million sales to be talking to someone that does 500 million sales. Get them together and get them talking, and you'd be amazed. Like, we actually have to like shoo them out of the area because they just don't want to stop engaging with each other and sharing these secrets and what's going on. So, and I don't think there's any other forums that really do that allow them to just go and talk shop.
Let's be real, Steven. We're a bunch of nerds. And when you get a bunch of nerds together in a room, It's hard to get us to
I love
separate.
it.
And we serve wine and beer. I mean, what's better than that? And
I will say the beverages also, they feed you, people. They actually, you're hanging out, and you made a good point. I didn't think about the hotel thing. There's always something. If you want soda, water, it doesn't matter what you want. It's there. And again, the coffee's hot. They have food. They give you food, which is amazing. Sleep and food. They're crazy. We're going to take a quick break, but we got more expert top 10. We haven't even hit on this. We're going to go down a little lower on what's coming up in Palm Springs, February 24th through the 27th. Go to eTail right now. Back right after this.
I'm Eric Scheinkup, CEO of the Desire Company, and you're listening to Always Off Brand.
All right, we're back here. Steven Peters, Lena Moriarty. Okay, so let's dig down deeper into these top 10s. Let's start with the Shake Shack. If you don't know Shake Shack, there's a whole thing as far as predictions for 25. The power of no for brands. Companies will learn to say no. Shake Shack's founder Danny Meyer made a comment not too long ago about the dangers of always saying yes
To the customer. This
and
is
he talked
interesting.
about yes. This is fascinating. Free flow.
Yeah, no, this was a very interesting one. And Liza Amlani from Retail Strategy Group, she brought it up to me, and when I asked for contribution, and I thought it was such an interesting topic because right now you hear so much about different retailers and brands just kind of being yes men. I feel like there is just so much yes men happening. Not like X-Men. No, I'm just kidding. But but just saying no and saying the power of no, just having the ability to stop. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not going to work for us. And I know it's something that I personally struggle with sometimes.
Yeah.
So would love to hear others' thoughts on it too, because I did think it was an underrated trend for 2025, especially as we see, like Sky, you mentioned before, the cutting happening. And we're slowly going to see, some of that trickle into retail. We're already seeing it. I know in this Q4, even though sales are up, the worries are there. I know that Steven experiences a lot of the worries from the retailer's end. So the worries are there. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting concept, I think, heading into the new year.
I love. Oh, go ahead, Steven.
No, I was gonna say it's odd from what we're used to, which is the customer's always right.
Yeah.
So it's totally different take on what we've known. But yeah, go ahead, Summer, please.
Well, I have two views on this. One is I was at a small startup. I was like 30th employee at a software as a service company. We were great at Amazon and Google, but then our customers kept saying, like, this is going to age me. They're like, what about shop.com? What about jet.com? What about, and like, there's this thing called Pinterest coming up. And like, there was all these channels popping up, and they would take away from our product roadmap and be like, well, instead of doing this optimization on Amazon and Google, which is 95% of our business, our customers really want this. So we're going to go ahead and create this for them and like delay these other things. And in the end of the day, it didn't serve us better because these things just pop up and then they go away. And if we had just stuck to our guns of like, what's actually moving the needle, what do our customers really need that's going to bring them to the next level, we wouldn't have looked at some of those channels. And then from the brand side, I love seeing what my brand focuses on, which is like, this is who we are. And although customers might ask for something, like that is not the right move for our brand. And here's why. And I loved the comment in here where it said, it's talking about Starbucks as an example of this, that they have currently 170,000 different ways to customize a Starbucks drink. I had no idea. I literally get the same drink every day. That is wild to me. And honestly, back in my agency days, when I had to manage all of the different channels, I felt like there was 170,000 different channels, and you can't be good at all of them. So stick at what you're good at, and you will have your niche. You'll have your customers.
Completely. And, there with so much digital noise and channel overload, how are you optimizing to cut through the noise? And I think that, just to relate it back to eTail a little bit, it's nice to hear about how people are successfully cutting through that digital noise landscape, because, you have a million social channels, and there are people who are just now specializing in things like TikTok, you know, and who is the director of like just TikTok strategy. So how can that be replicated and expanded, or is it going to be replicated and expanded in the same way, or is it a different niche audience? You know, we had she's the global media strategist for Duolingo, Melissa Young. She talked to eTail Boston, and she just talks so much about Duolingo's social strategy and how it is so based on organic and not focused on paid, and how she focuses specifically on the organic, you know, breaking into niche audiences through things like sounds and participating in Brat summer trends, you know, and it's just not conventional because the conventional doesn't work anymore. So that's where the no comes back into play. Like if you can't just say yes to every single channel.
The advice that you give all the time, Scott, wait to see what happens. Every time you have an Amazon brand wanting to do the new cool thing that Amazon just announced, you're like, wait.
Yes.
Wait.
But can I have a brief rant? Scotty O rant.
Love it.
Okay.
Love a Scotty O rant. Let's go.
Because this is from my days selling to retailers for years and years, small ones, big ones, whatever. And this has happened now on Amazon. It happens in retailers because retailers are brands are retailers, right? That's the beautiful hybrid mold that we are, the blur.
Mm-hmm.
More doesn't mean more. We are over assorted. We're over choiced. We're over inundated every freaking day on our screens. It's goddamn Cheesecake Factory. It's like 75 pages of the same shit, some different way. Stop it. And then it costs more to inventory. It costs more to sell. It costs more to advertise. It costs more to store. It costs more to everything. Stop it. We don't need 35 choices of a color of a bottle.
Yes. We don't need 40 prebiotic sodas. There's too many prebiotic soda. No, but it's like, Philip Jackson from.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Yeah, they're doing this cool theater radio thing. Brian Legro. It's very cool. Future Commerce, ladies and gentlemen. He's been on the show.
Yes, we'll plug him, but he did such an amazing session at their show Visions, and he actually did it also at eTail Boston, and because I loved it so much, I was like, we need to get this on the stage about commerce as culture, but just it becoming everyone trying to replicate one another, and it just becoming one mesh of just the sameness, because everyone's trying to do so much of the same thing but a little bit differently, and it all just starts to look and blend the same, and it's absolutely crazy. So
sorry for my rant there, but
I love it. And I think
rationalization used to be a thing that drove businesses. SKU rationalization, right? Profit, do a P&L by each SKU. Yep. Hello, can we get that back? That would be great. Thanks.
Let's go to the next topic in these top 10, which this is such a good article. Where'd it go? Was it more collaboration in retail media? We will see collaboration.
Yeah.
Is that where we want to go to?
Yeah, because it's all the buzz. I mean, it's AI and retail media. In fact, it's so much of a buzz that eTail's now got a new show just focusing on retail media. You got it is like washing over you every day. The whole retail media is a big, big deal, which I think is great. And I'm all in. And I was part of, you guys were nice enough to call me a year ago to do the research about this show. And I said, oh, hail to the yes, like do it tomorrow. And at the same time, let's just be honest with everybody. Right now, today, it's Amazon.
It's Amazon. They own 80+% of the retail media networks. But it's so crazy because it's so interesting that everyone's trying to break into it. And we had so much desire that we have a whole track on it focused on eTail, like a whole track on a day. And we had to do an offshoot event, Commerce Media Brand Summit, which is happening in March in Atlanta. And, because people are craving that information and how to learn more and connect more. And it's such a blend, again, of the technology and the retailers and how they work together in unison. And I know that Steven as well has been seeing a lot of retail media interest pop up, just in the last year alone. And it's just been such a hot topic. I feel we have Josh Clarkson on the lineup and he's just an expert in the topic. And, we're just going to get more and more into it. And I think
why? We listen to why real quickly. You know why retail media and everybody wants to get into it? Do you know why?
Why?
Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money.
Because it's the most profitable part of Amazon's business. It's not even close. That's why. Steven, what are you hearing on retail media?
It's the same. and that's where we get a lot of our research from. We start hearing it, we start researching it, and then that's where we get our content from. Like we put on what people want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's the key, like Lena's saying. Like if that's the topic people want to talk about, let's bring the experts. Let's bring the people that want to be there. Watch the room fill up and watch the heads go like this while the presentations are taking place, because we want to make sure that people walk away with actual information. So let's put someone there that actually knows what they're talking about. So that's something that we're definitely be seeing a lot more as well.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it just was so interesting where he was saying that he said, we'll see collaboration, amalgamation, and partnerships in 2025 as smaller entities try to compete with giants like Amazon and Walmart. And I think that I'm interested to see how the retailers take advantage of working together and not seeing each other as smaller competitors and taking on these behemoths, if you will.
This is so interesting. It's like all the new technologies or whatever. I see this happening in retailers. So you talk to major marketing CMOs and what have you that sell to all different retailers, like Nordstrom's. Okay, Nordstrom's has their own retail media network, but they don't have yet. I think this is awesome. This is where I'm going to flip it. I'm going to call it like it is that Amazon has it. But the exciting side is that you have all these retailers that are just infancy. So on the Nordstrom side, right, they just don't have yet the infrastructure and support systems quite yet ready. They're working on it to support that retailer or that brand who wants to pay them money. How does
They're
it
getting
work?
there, though. You know,
They are. I agree.
Because and the reason this is happening is because third-party cookies are gone.
Yeah.
Right. First-party data is king. And what does Nordstrom have? They've got a lot of good first-party data.
See, this is my whole thing with Macy's. Okay. Hey, Macy's, I'm seeing 1 billion ads for you. Okay. And that's great. That's fantastic. I'm a Macy's fan. Do you know how much first-party data you're sitting on with Macy's cards, with everything else? You need to leverage that shit like yesterday. That's Macy's rant too. God, I got a lot of rants this morning. Jeez, I had 3.5 Coors Lights last night.
He's ready. He's like, finish out the year. Let it out. Let it out.
But I think that's what's going to be cool to show is to hear, because there's a lot of really niche retailers. There's some other retailers that don't get all the flav, all the flowers. Lowe's, phenomenal retail media. Home Depot, great retail media network. And the cost, here's the thing, because costs are going to be more questioned. You can go get more bang for your buck on all these other retail media networks.
Right.
Yeah.
Kroger's. I mean, hello. Anybody?
We don't have Kroger's up here.
Oh, sorry. I mean, you say their retail media network. I think that's what's going to be interesting. They're sitting there going, "Hey, we gotta spend smarter. What can we get out of these other things? What's the next one we wanted to talk about?" But retail media is going to be a massive topic.
We're getting into one of your favorite topics, Scott, which is profit.
It's undefeated.
Show me the money. Where's the show me the money?
Yeah. And Scott, you know what's funny is profit is always predicted for the following year. I bet we'll see profit as a prediction for 2026 as well, because every year profits are they have struggles. And we are right now, they're predicting like fairly flat growth for 2025. So where are you going to find the profit? Where's it going to come from, Scott?
Show me the money.
There's a logistical, I don't know. There's a logistical tsunami coming.
Ooh.
Because people are forced to figure out how to get goods from wherever they are to wherever they're going faster, better, cheaper. And let me focus on the cheaper. So there's a reckoning coming, in my opinion, over the next 2-3 years, where freight, we've got major confluence of things. We don't have the drivers that drive the trucks have all retired.
Yeah.
Getting new people. You have a confluence. We have now containers are going back up in price, supply demand. You have everyone's freaking about tariffs, whether they're going to happen or not. The manufacturers have no choice but to go and sit and figure out. Same with the retailers. So I think there's a logistic thing happening that is going to be really interesting, because I think it's one of the biggest, you can get more points. I think it's the biggest way to go make more money and be profitable. But profit's undefeated, and corporate profits are higher than they've been in 50 years.
But they're talking about, reducing costs. I think that's the theme that this is talking about. But what I also thought was interesting that was combined in this theme was widening the funnel. And you know I'm a full funnel gal, Scott. So
Dude,
this
you're a
just
full funnel jubileer. That's your new name.
Eh,
I love it. So it's talking about widening the funnel to draw in customers via channels such as live stream, which I want to love live stream, but I am struggling with it. I am struggling. Lena, I see a head tilt. Tell me more. What are you thinking?
I think that a lot of people want to love live stream, and a lot of people are struggling with it.
Oh, I feel so
especially
much better.
No, and I could really reassure you with that. And it's like, but we see, eTail Asia. We do have a show over there, and live stream is in the norm. If you're not doing live stream social commerce in China and Asia right now, in different parts, in Korea especially, it's popping off. You are falling behind. You're behind the curve. And with that, it's going to be so much of that, how are we working in AI to work for us and with us and not replacing? And I think that it's all about speed is with the cost efficiency, and people want to do things faster at the tip of their fingers. So with that, what social tools and platforms are actually allowing you to do it quickly and to do it well and have a transparent, at least a placebo transparent appearance to your customer. Because if it's fake BS, we have these AI influencers now. I'm seeing on LinkedIn people that are not even real with products that look real. And I'm saying, who are you? Yes, I know. It's crazy. So I think that we want to love live stream, but we haven't cracked the code, at least over here in the US yet.
And it's expensive. It's expensive.
It's expensive from a time perspective as well. Like, how do you have someone just available at the tip of your fingers? That's what's going to, be a complicated sticking point, I think.
Well, and it talks a little bit about social commerce. And man, TikTok Shop just blew up. I mean, we talked about
you did 100 million on Black Friday alone, and they're going to get rid of it. You did $100 million in social commerce on TikTok Shop on Black Friday. How are you going to take that away? I'm not putting two and two together, completely honestly.
No, I mean,
I've used
too much money.
I've used up my 2 rants. I don't want to rant on that again.
I know. I'll hit it for you, but like, too much money. We love money. How can we get rid of something that generates us so much money? And
show me the money.
Yeah, I love it. So that's my rant on. But I hear you with widening a funnel. Cutting costs, I think that they go hand in hand, especially coming into 2025.
100%.
Steven, is there any other stuff as far as the funnel? I wanted the next thing, which I didn't talk to you guys about, but I just thought of, I think it's cool. I was looking at the agenda, which, by the way, is out for Palm Springs. Okay.
Yep.
And there's there's a bunch of just great stuff. Okay. Do you have anything else on funnels and cost savings, Steven? And then I'll share my screen here.
I mean, I think one thing I look at from an event standpoint is the presentations are just a starting spot. It's just like, you may not necessarily get everything you want from the presentations, but it's the conversations you have after those presentations are done. It kind of opens the door to allow people to ask those questions, because we do allow amount of time for question and answer after every single presentation, but not everyone wants to put their hand up and ask their questions. I'm Steven from this company, and people don't want to know sometimes what.
No, because you know what's going to happen, Steven. You're going to raise your hand, be like, I have this question. And the person next to you is like, that's a dumb question. That's what's going to happen. That's what everyone's worst nightmare is. No, I'm kidding. But that's like why, I'm like, I have a question, but like, no,
it's scary.
It's so scary. Why?
I think it's also because some people don't want to know what other companies are asking, or where those companies are, that competitive intelligence of, if I ask this question, the guy behind me might know where we are in that, that process. So, but pulling the speaker aside afterwards or talking to other people in the room will get them the answers they want. And someone may know that. So one of the cool things about Palm Springs and obviously the JW is the speakers actually stay on site, which is great. A lot of conferences, they just take off. Like, they'll do their presentation and they're gone.
Yeah.
This is a resort. Like, this is a resort feel. Most of them bring their families. So they're there for 3-4 days. So you can track down speakers and pick their brains and actually get that opportunity that realistically you just won't get. So I think when it comes down to profit and where you're going to cut things, it starts off with a conversation, and it starts off with, who's doing what? And then, are you doing this? Are we doing that? Are we doing enough? Are we doing too much? Those are the sort of conversations that we hear a lot of. And also, like, they like to to partner with each other. There are so many opportunities where I've seen small retailers, partner with some of the largest Macy's and Nordstroms, and they make those connections, which again, everyone's getting LinkedIn messages and connections, and I want to connect and you want to connect, but that face-to-face interaction is something you just can't beat.
No, you cannot beat it.
If that answers your question, I know I ramble.
No, I love the ramble. We're here for rambling, and I just have to hit this. Because in the same room in real life, humans talking to humans is absolutely undervalued and one of the most favorite things in the world. And everybody's chit-chatty. Like Summer, I can't wait for you to go because you just love walking around just chit-chatting with people, and everybody's just in a great mood. Everybody's chit-chatty. It's like where I grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I mean, you walk down the street, people just say hello.
Yeah. No, what I love about this opportunity is for people to actually, I mean, Steven, you've said it multiple times, they're connecting. And so everyone is there to learn, and everyone is there to become better at what they're doing. And nothing feels better than being able to share with someone like, I'm doing this. And they're like, that is so helpful. Thank you. Like there's nothing that feels better than that. Well, I mean, maybe my coffee in the morning.
I know. Did I ring the bell for that? I'm not sure. Let me just let's get you out of here on this. Let's wrap it up on one thing. Okay. One of the agenda's out, ladies and gentlemen. Go to eTail.com. I don't even know.
eTailPalmSprings.com. There we go.
eTailPalmSprings.com. But one of the things is I'm going to share my screen on the YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. But I will describe it what I'm showing. One of the sessions is called this keynote panel. Okay. I think it's on the second day, on Tuesday. C-suite synergy, achieving cross-functional collaboration and organizational growth. This is one of the biggest things I see continuing. It's been going on. This isn't new, but the sauce is not done on this.
Just saying, this is in my OKR.
Yeah. Is it?
Cross collaboration.
What's the OKR again, by the way?
Objectives and key results.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm seeing this, the large organizations, it's very tough to do, but as this floats down, and I think this is on the retailer side, the brand size, any organization, the consumer doesn't give a shit about your org chart. They don't care whose budget runs into whose budget. They don't care that your bonus is based on this. They do not give one absolute shit. They want what they want, when they want it, where they want it. And unless these corporations and organizations and retailers, I can't wait to see this one, because this is what more brands have to keep, and leaders have to sit there and think, how do we do this? How do we do this smartly? How do we get consensus and on the same page as far as compensation, bonus, incentives, all of those things? God, that's like my third rant, but I'm fired up about this panel. I'm fired up.
This is a great panel.
Yeah, this is a can't miss. And honestly, and I love that, because you have, unfiltered real advice from the people that are in the C-suite, and how are we getting through in a successful manner. And I think it's not just, fluff, it's real solutions that will help, that you could take back and implement. And I think that that's what we're really all about, and trying to foster that community and that sense of collaboration. So really excited for eTail Palm Springs this year.
Absolutely.
Any thoughts on this?
Listen, I think this is going to be probably one of the must-see presentations. I think you're going to see a room full of your VPs, your CEOs, but they're also going to be bringing their people with them, and they're going to be sitting beside them, and they're going to be poking them, saying, "We need to do this. You need to do this." It funnels up as well. I mean, these folks in the trenches are the ones that need more collaboration. They need more clarity, and they need more working together within those departments. And I think this is a great opportunity for people to listen to 5 or 6, amazing companies say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And hopefully it there's going to be some key takeaways.
We have a lot of agency listeners, a lot of people who are in agencies of all sizes, shapes. And this is also a big deal that I'm seeing on the agency side. You have a lot of agencies that are having to adapt to what's happening cross-functionally in these organizations. So I think there's just a lot of fun moving parts to this. Software is involved in it. Everybody's involved in it.
It doesn't matter where you're at. This is something that you can take advice from and go implement.
It's not easy, by the way.
No.
It's not easy. Lena, we are so excited. Always Off Brand. You have just been so kind to us, and Steven, everybody at eTail at Boston. You were just made time for us. You made sure we had a space enough. I bring my big setup.
You had a great space too.
Yeah, God, it was.
He made like 9 pods out of that.
I did. It was all.
And I'm so excited for Palm Springs. Wait till you see your little big area this time. It's pretty official. So very, very excited. And we have the new logo to show off. So
Yes, we have the new logo. Yes. So we have great things. And I think the smart thing is all the pods, right? Talk about all boats. There's a lot of great podcasts there. There's a lot of great hosts. I met some new friends there. Ben Peterson, Talk Commerce, which we did a great collab for at Shoptoberfest anyway. So I love it because, and you get us and we get the moderator, right? We should know how to talk to people. So I think that's just super smart, and it just makes it more entertaining, more fun. It's all part of the laugh and learn. I love it.
And community, and continue making those connections. And we're excited to make more. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
All right. I think that's going to do this program. eTail Lena. I'm just going to call you eTail Lena now.
Call me eTail Lena. I like it. I love it. No, thanks so much for having us, both of you, Summer and Scott. Thank you so much. We love Always Off Brand, and we're so excited to have you guys at eTail Palm Springs again, and for having us. So
I'll put all
the guys.
Yeah, Steven, you did great. This is your first timer. See, we need a first timer program, but you were awesome. All right, we'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
This is Chet, Mr. eTail Silverman, and you're listening to Always Off Brand.
Scott, I feel like you just invited all of our listeners to like the best party of the year.
I'm telling you. The people vibe is so good. I'm so jacked up about Palm Springs. I hope we get you there and all that stuff. And anyway, I'm excited for the show because they have been amazing to this little podcast. I can't tell you. That. And they're just cool people. You just want to go chill with them. You got to go hang with them. You got to have a cocktail with them, whatever.
But like I said, like we're all just nerds in the end. And I love hanging with other nerds. Like let's talk KPIs, like talk click-through rate to me, like talk collaboration. Let's go. I love this. And there's, I work from home, you work from home. This is like for people who work from home, this is such a great opportunity to share what you're seeing, but then also hear from other people and create those connections where you can learn from each other and grow for the rest of your career.
Yeah, I know I'm just obnoxious. I am self-aware enough to know how obnoxious I am. But I'm telling you, this is just such a cool deal. Obviously, February in Palm Springs, all that, and a bag of chips. But I mean, it's just such a warm, welcoming thing. It doesn't feel stiff like that.
Yeah,
so it's great. And the whole reason, obviously, is because of the people. And why do we just glom onto that?
Because people matter, Scott.
Yes, they do.
And you are listening to Always
Off
Brand. Please like.
Yes.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Please like, please subscribe, please share.
And a big shout out to Haley Brucker in the news. I don't know if we missed that or didn't miss that, but we
did miss that, but I miss her.
I do. And I hope she's all good. She's fine. Happy holidays. Hope everything went well. Happy New Year when you hear this.
Hey there, this is Haley from Quickfire, and they want me to read this so you know what this podcast is part of and how to find out more if you want. Always Off Brand is a production of Quickfire LLC and a part of the Learn and Laugh series on the Quickfire Podcast Network. For more information, go to quickfirenow.com. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.
All right, Steven, I asked you earlier, you've been doing this for a while, and I need stories. I need behind the scenes. I need you to pull the curtain back and tell us some of the bloopers that have happened at eTail.
Yeah, I got one definitely comes to mind. Going back, I'd say maybe 6-7 years ago, we used to have these big bubble letters that said eTail.
Right.
And one night after one of the cocktail parties, someone took one of the letters. I think it was the A, and it ended up somewhere on the golf course. So you come into the resort, and it would just be ET minus EAIL, and no one knew where it was.
eTail.
And about halfway through, someone brought it with a golf cart. They said this was sitting, I think it was in the 9th green or something like that.